Tov. All right. So let's just make a little recap from the beginning of the Perek, because the pasuk we're going to be learning, pasuk Zayin, right, is basically, according to the Malbim, the end of the first journey of Shlomo HaMelech in his prophecy. If you recall, the Malbim, in his introduction, told us that Shir HaShirim is broken down in different episodes, reflecting different episodes of prophecy Shlomo HaMelech had. The first one finishes with Pasuk Zayin. And it finishes on a we're going to see, on a confused, I think a little bit of a confusing note, and we'll understand why. So in the beginning of the Perek, we see how there is an interaction of love, right, and of respect between Knesset Israel and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, between the Nefesh, the Neshama and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, where there is a lot of praising. Ani chavetzel et Hasharon, Shoshanat ha'amakim, כשושנה בן נחום כן ראיתי בין הבנות, right? if I'm the Shoshana, כתפוח בעצה כדודי בין הבנים, right? And you are like this apple tree. And then she goes and says, הביאני אל בית היין, ודגלו עלי אהבה. There was a revolution of love. שמחוני בעשישות, רפדוני בתפוחים, right? There is an expression of love. There is an expression of a connection that's being missed here. Yeah. It's like as if someone is missing, someone else. He doesn't know if he's going to see him again or not. And he's talking from a place of tremendous love, yet pain and void. Talk about someone that you miss. Yeah. So all your emotions, your energy, your imagination goes into that speech. This is what has been happening since the beginning of this of Perek Bet until this pasuk, until pasuk Zayin. And then Pasuk Zayin comes and has to it a double facet. And we'll understand why. The Pasuk says the following. Ishbati etchem benot Yerushalayim. I made you swear. I swear before you. Vow in the name of God. Benot Yerushalayim, the daughters of Yerushalayim, which is referring to the Umot HaOlam, to the Goyim, to the nations. Benot Yerushalayim. Bitzvaot. And I make you swear by bitzvaot, by the representation of the deer, the tzvi, or be'ailot hasadeh, or in the name of the ram of the fields. Im ta'iru, if you try, do not. Here in this point is a lashon shevua, says the Gaon, and we will see soon. But he said, "Im ta'iru, I swear to you, be careful, right, that you will not awake. Ve'im te'oreru, and you will not arise. Et ha'ahava, the love, ad shetehpatz, until it is the zman of the hefetz, until the time has come, until it's wanted. tehpat milashon hafetz. Ani hafetz. I want, I desire, until the desire is fully expressed.
Shlomo is talking to the goyim here?
No, it's not Shlomo. It's not Shlomo. Here, and we have to understand Benot Yerushalayim. It's Knesset Israel. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kivyachol, right? To the goyim, or to Am Israel, or the neshama to the nefesh, or vice versa, and we will see. Or vice versa. Meaning, the Knesset Israel tells the goyim, I swear that this will never, that the love, you cannot awake any love until there is a true desire and genuine effort done before that. Now, this pasuk is extremely hard to understand from its structure. So, before we jump into the Gaon and the Malbim, we need to learn a Gemara. Okay? There is a Gemara that speaks about this pasuk. We'll break it down properly, and it will give us a little bit more clarity as to what is happening and going on. The Gemara is in Masechet Ketubot, Daf Kuf Yud Aleph. Okay. The Gemara says the following. So there is a mahloket, just to bring you into context. There is a mahloket whether or not you're allowed to live in Chutz La'aretz, outside of Eretz Israel. And if you do live outside of Eretz Israel, what is your status? So the Chachamim say, Le'olam yadur adam be'Eretz Israel. A person should live in Eretz Israel. אפילו בעיר שרובה עובדי עבודת כוכבים. Sorry. Even if the city in Eretz Israel is a city that is full of the כוכבים, of עבודה זרה, of going. ואל ידור בחוץ לארץ. And he shouldn't live in outside of Israel. ואפילו בעיר שרובה ישראל, even in a city that has majority of Jews. Of Israel. שכל הדר בארץ ישראל דומה כמי שיש לו אלוקה, וכל הדר בחוץ לארץ דומה כמי שאין לו אלוקה. Everyone that, a person that lives in Eretz Israel is represented as a person that believes in God, and if someone lives outside of Eretz Israel, he looks like a person that doesn't believe in God. Because he's not cherishing and valuing the vow of God to Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, and does not appreciate the shvu'ah, the swearing that God made to Am Israel to give them that land. So, you live outside of Israel, so you don't really believe in my dedication to you to protect this land and to give you this land. This is what the Gemara wants to say. And then the Gemara says, well, this is true except for Bavel. For Bavel. Babel was the city of Talmidei Chachamim of Torah. So Rav Zira and Rav Yehuda that used to live in Bavel were in dispute. What do we do now? Should we go to Eretz Israel or should we stay in Bavel? And Rav Yehuda said, no, you have to say Asur. Whoever leaves Bavel is doing Avera. And Avera, even going to Eretz Israel. Why? Because there's a prophecy of Yirmiyah that says you will not leave Bavel until Mashiach comes. So you're not, if you're in Bavel, you're not allowed to leave Bavel. That's what Rav Yehuda said. And then the argument starts about this pasuk in the Gemara. The pasuk Ishba'ati etrem benot Yerushalayim bitzvaot o ba'ilot hasadeh. So he says the following: The Gemara says, we find 3 times in Shir HaShirim this exact pasuk. 3 times. השבעתי אתכם בנות ירושלים בצבאות או בעילות השדה אם תעירו ואם תעוררו את האהבה עד שתחפץ. So, we need to break this pasuk into 3. השבעתי אתכם בנות ירושלים, first portion. בצבאות או בעילות השדה, the comparison to the deer and the ram, second portion. אם תעירו ואם תעוררו את האהבה עד שתחפץ, if you awake the love or arise the love before the proper time. Portion number 3. Okay? Why do we break this pasuk into 3? It's because there are 6 times in Shir HaShirim, השבעתי אתכם בנות ירושלים. 6 times. Out of these 6 times, 4 times, השבעתי אתכם בנות ירושלים, אם תעירו ואם תעוררו את האהבה עד שתחפץ. 4 times. But only 3 times, this specific pasuk where we have בצבאות או בעילות השדה. Good? So the Gemara refers to the 3 times we have the exact same pasuk. And he says, why do we have 3 times 3 swearing? He says the following. שלושה שבועות הללו, God swore 3 times. למה? אחת שלא יעלו ישראל מן הגלות בחומה. The first one, HaKadosh Baruch Hu swore that Bnei Israel will not go back to Eretz Israel from the Galut as one big entity, as one big people. There will not be Aliyah La'aretz from one bulk. It will happen slowly, slowly. והאחת שהשביע הקדוש ברוך הוא את ישראל שלא ימרדו באומות העולם אף בהיותם בגלות. The second, he made Am Yisrael swear that they will never betray the Goyim even though they are in Galut, even though they're suffering, even though they're under the patronage of the Goyim, yet he swore that Am Yisrael will never have the power to overrule governments during the Galut outside of Israel. ואחת, and the third one, שהשביע הקדוש ברוך הוא את עובדי כוכבים שלא ישתעבדו בהם בישראל יותר מדי. And the third one, he swore that he made the Goyim swear that they will not bring too much sufferance upon Am Yisrael. These are the three vows HaKadosh Baruch Hu did. So here we see that there is Hashem swearing, and vowing that something will not happen to Am Yisrael. Second, the swearing of Am Yisrael, making Am Yisrael swear that they will not turn and take over a government outside of Israel during the Galut. And third, make the Goyim swear that they will not make Am Yisrael suffer during the Galut. Not make too much suffer too much. יותר מדי. Good? Okay. Now we so השבעתי אתכם בנות ירושלים means it's really talking or God to himself, or God to the Goyim, or God to Am Yisrael, right? And he refers to two different types of situation. Bitzvaot, to the tzevi, to the deer, or be'ailot hasadeh, or to the ram.
I'm sorry, Rob, when you say he, who's the?
HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? He's basically swearing, okay, right, that bitzvaot or be'ailot hasadeh. Right? If you behave like bitzvaot or you behave be'ailot hasadeh, right? And because of that, you're going to try to awake or arise the love before the time. This will not happen. God swears that this will never happen. That by behaving like the deer or by behaving like the ram, you, Benot Israel, and Benot Israel in that context means or him to himself, him to the Goyim, or him to Am Israel, you will not awake the love between me and Am Israel before the due time, before there is a true desire that comes from Am Israel at the proper time. Okay?
Yeah.
Is the structure clear? Very good. Okay.
Yes.
The Gemara says, Bitzvaot o be'ailot hasadeh. Why do we have Bitzvaot o be'ailot hasadeh? אמר להם הקדוש ברוך הוא לישראל, הקדוש ברוך הוא told עם ישראל, אם אתם מקיימים את השבועה, if you respect the שבועה, the vow that I made, that you made, מוטב, very good. ואם לאו, and if you don't respect it, אני מתיר את בשרכם כצבאות וכעילות השדה. I will peel and rip your flesh just like the deer and the ram that is being hunted
in the field.
In the field. Okay. All right. So now we have, okay, just so that we complete everything. So we spoke about the three vows of the three pesukim that are copy, exactly like the one we have. Then we said that we have another three vows. We have a total of six tam ishbat yetchem, right? So what are the other three? So shelo yigalu et haketz. One vow, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made Am Yisrael, the Nevi'im, the prophets, swear that they will never reveal when Mashiach will come. Okay? One vow. Then the other one, Shelo yerahaku et haketz. He made it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu swore that no matter how bad the behavior of Am Yisrael is, it doesn't matter how wicked Am Yisrael is, it will not push back more than a certain point the Geula from coming, the Mashiach from coming. So he set a deadline. So, meaning it doesn't matter, if you are the worst of the worst of the worst, there's still a deadline for Mashiach to come. The second vow. The third vow, ושלא יגלו סוד לעובדי כוכבים, and they will not reveal the secret to the goyim. What secret are we talking here? Machloket, or the sod ha'ibur, the rebirth of the moon, the secret of the rebirth of the moon, which is the secret of time, right? Since our calendar is based on the ibur alevana, on the rebirth of the moon, and some other mefarshim say no, the sodot HaTorah. You can reveal the Torah to the goyim, you can explain the Torah to the goyim, but you cannot reveal the secrets of the Torah to the goyim. And now, obviously, the secrets of the Torah that we're talking here is not the secrets of the Torah that we talk about. Yeah, it's real secrets of the Torah that we don't even know if they were ever written. Okay. All right. So now we have the 6 vows. And now we have to focus on one of those three that we addressed earlier, that is referring to this pasuk. Okay? השבעתי אתכם בנות ירושלים בצבאות ובעילות השדה אם תארו ואם תעוררו את האהבה שתחפץ. So, one of the three is, or that Am Yisrael will not go back to Eretz Israel as a bulk until until the will of Hashem is formal, that now is the time of Mashiach, right? And it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter how you will come. Bitzvaot or be'ailot hasadeh. Whether you come through the behavior of the tzevi, through the behavior of the deer, or through the behavior of the ram. And we'll see what that means in a second. First vow. Or it could also mean that Am Yisrael will not rebel against the Goyim while they're in exile, right? They will not rebel against the people they live in. Will never happen. Or third, that the Goyim cannot make Am Yisrael suffer too much. Good?
Yep.
Very good. So,
just one question on one of the things you said earlier.
Sure.
When you said you can't delay the time that it's meant to be, does that also mean that you can't bring it closer?
Oh, no. Oh. Very good. No. What the Gemara means, and we'll go back to your point in the Pasuk here and the Mefarshim, but what the Gemara actually means, it's basically telling Am Yisrael that your Averot cannot push infinitely Mashiach from coming.
There's a hard date.
That's it. There's an ETA.
Right. Either it's going to come from your good deeds, or
Bravo.
It's going to because it's necessary in the deadline.
Bravo.
Does it affect how Mashiach comes, if it comes from the ram or from the
Absolutely. So, bravo. Let's dive in. The Gaon Mivilna addresses this pasuk as one of the explanation of the Gemara, right? Because we have three pasuk, and each pasuk has to represent a specific one, right? We just brought the three options.
Mm-hmm.
The Gemara doesn't tell you the first pasuk says that, the second pasuk says the third. It just tells you that it says three times this pasuk. One time is for this, one time is for this, one time is for that. Go figure out after which pasuk refers to what. So the Gaon Mivilna gives us clarity. It says that it's referring to the third explanation of the Gemara, which is what? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the Goyim swear that they will not make Am Yisrael suffer too much. השבעתי אתכם שלא תעירו אותי ולא תראו את מאהבי אלא אהבה שתחפש מעצמה, כי יהיה לי צער גדול למאהבי שיעשה זאת קודם העת. והעניין כמו שאמרו 3 שבועות השביע הקדוש ברוך הוא, and he says which one is it? שלא יקרבו את הקץ בענותם את ישראל. The Gaon understands this Gemara in a fantastic way. The Gemara says Hashem made the Goyim swear that they will not make Am Yisrael suffer too much. The Gaon explains, how does he brings the Gemara? He made the Goyim swear, or he swore that the Goyim will not make Am Yisrael suffer too much, because if they suffer too much, they will cry to me, and I will have to redeem them, not because they deserve it, but because of the affliction of the pain the Goyim bring upon Am Yisrael.
Funny, we see that all over the Torah, that when somebody was crying out to Hashem in pain, Hashem, like, with all the imahot, when they were barren, when Hashem sees their pain, he feels necessary to answer them.
Bravo. So for that specific reason, exactly, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu behaves like that, and he doesn't want Mashiach to come from the koach of the goyim, okay? He's saying, okay, so you will make them suffer, but not to the point where they have to cry to me and I have to bring Mashiach already. You understand how the Gaon reads it?
Yes.
We could read the Gemara, you know what? They're wicked, I'm kasher oref, tough people, difficult people, make them suffer. But you know what? Don't break them, don't kill them. That's not how the Gaon sees it. The Gaon says, because if you hurt them too much, it will trigger Mashiach to come for the wrong reason.
We don't want Mashiach to come in that way.
Exactly. So it's in a way a safety net that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put in place for us to be able to deserve Mashiach for the right reason. Even though he didn't cap how wicked we can be. He didn't cap how bad our actions can be.
The infinite kindness of Hashem.
Oh, voilà. Even there, in that nuance, we see how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so rahaman, is so loving and caring.
We saw it in every pasuk since we started, that no matter what Bnei Yisrael does, we could never be disconnected from Hashem.
Yeah. But it's more than that. This is a nuance where he caps the pain, he caps the punishment, not the action, but just not because he doesn't want to punish. No, because it will trigger a bracha, it will trigger a redemption that will come from the wrong reason. So, and here the Gaon says, he's going to break down the difference there is between the tzvi, between the deer, and between the ram. He says there's two types of pain. There's two types of inui. There's two types of struggle. One struggle is a very, very difficult one. Okay? But it doesn't come at once. It's not consistent. You get the punch, a hard punch once, you come, stand up, raise again, refresh, and boom, another punch. Right? You with me?
Yep. Yes.
This is the tough inui. That's one type of inui. And then you have another type of pain. You have another type of affliction of pain. Is not that bad, but it's consistent. You never get a break. Right? The Tzror Amor brings the Midrash with Rabbi Yehuda ben Babad during the Zman HaShmed, during the time when the Romans were killing all the Talmidei Chachamim.
What's the Shmed?
Hashmed. The Holocaust of the time of the Bet HaMikdash.
Okay, it's the wrong.
Asara Hugei Malchut, right? So I think it's Reb Zira Bar Baba or Rav Ami Bar Baba. 1 second, it's going to come back. That says that I would have, if I have to choose, he's talking about the pain. he says the following. Okay. I cannot remember now if it's Vadai about Rav Yehuda ben Baba, who was who was killed during the Zman HaShmed. And he says, anyways, one of the Amoraim says, if I need to choose what sufferance I need to get, I'd rather have the sufferance that is makahat, one shot, right? Quick, than having to suffer for a very long time. Why? He says, because at the time of the Holocaust of the Bet HaMikdash, what were they doing? They used to take balls of lead, of metal, boil them until they became white. And they will put it under the armpit of the Talmidei Chachamim until they die.
For what reason? As part of
for what reason?
For part of the Inquisition.
We're not talking about the Inquisition. The Inquisition was in 1400. We're talking at the time of the Bet HaMikdash. Okay?
Yeah.
This is how the Romans used to make Am Yisrael, the Talmidei Chachamim, suffer. So he says, I'd rather die, b'makachat, boom, one time, than to have something that's continuous, or a pain that you never get a break. So the Gaon says there's two types of pain. One pain is the one where you get a knockout, you stand up, you refresh, you get another knockout. What is that? It's the Holocaust of the history that Am Yisrael suffered, right? We many times, Inquisition, the Bet HaMikdash, the Holocaust in Germany and Europe, those were knockouts, okay? We got knocked out, we had a strong punch, and boom, we stood up, we refreshed, we regained our strength, we are ready to jump in the fight again, and at one point, boom, another knockout. But there's another type of pain. It's the continuous tsa'ar, the continuous struggle that Am Yisrael is exposed to and facing in the Galut.
Would that be
That's like not so painful, but it's always consistent. Anti-Semitism, hate. I'm sorry?
Would that be like Mitzrayim when we were slaves in Mitzrayim because it was so long and drawn out? Or is that also a knockout?
I'm sorry?
Would that be like, what would Mitzrayim, slavery in Mitzrayim qualify?
Oh, bravo. Chazak u'baruch. So the Gaon brings it. He says there was two. First, there was, he says it mimforash. He says the avodah kasha, right? Levada bechomer u'bilvenim. Kodem, they used to what? They used to make the whole avodah, the build out, and it was terrible. And then what did he say? Moshe, you have time to talk to the Am Yisrael, and they listen to you. Now let them go and pick their own wheat and make their own paste and their own clay, right? So says the Gaon, to make the clay, to go and gather the material, those straws to make the clay is not so complicated. It's not a hard work, right? Compared to building pyramids. But it's exhausting. So he said you had on one end the hard work, the knockout, boom, which is build the pyramid. So you had to work a certain period of time. You come home, you crash, you sleep, you gain strength, and you go back. And then was added this struggle where there was no time to even breathe anymore. Good? So we see those two aspects. He says, this you find those two differences in the ram and the deer. He says the deer runs. When he runs. He can go and he never gets tired. But the ram the ram, his legs have exactly the same size. All four legs are perfectly equal. So the ram, in order to run, he has to jump. He jumps very high, and he jumps boom, 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 and that's how he runs. And by doing that, he gets very tired. He says this is what Shlomo HaMelech tells us. He says, "Ishbati etchem benot Yerushalayim b'tzvaot." HaKadosh Baruch Hu swore that the goyim cannot make us suffer too much, whether it's through a knockout, through the tzvaot, or be'ayilot hasadeh, or through the exhaustion of the ayal, right? This continuous jump and jump and jump and jump, this continuous pain. He says, either way, right? All this will not work. You will not be able through that. With that, you will not awake and you will not arise at ha'ahava. This is not what will bring Am Yisrael, okay, to scream for redemption. It will not happen. The ahava will not be revealed from the pain that you think you can bring upon my people. Until there is a true desire and a true teshuvah from Am Yisrael. Until Am Yisrael really, really wants it. And it's only once they want it, that they do teshuvah and they understand why they need it, will the redemption, will Mashiach come. But it will not come from your pain. Doesn't matter how you bring it on.
What does the Hebrew word techbatz mean?
It comes from the word hafetz, to desire.
Got it.
So what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu basically, what does he do? So the Gaon says, he brings a mashal, he says, you know what this is? This vow is compared to a king that wants to kill his son. The son deserves to die. And he says that what? He has to be killed, he has to be put in a pit, and they're going to throw in it a huge rock and crush him. Says, but the day of the execution comes, the king cannot see it. So what does he do? He says, you know what? Just go and start cracking the stone, and you know, break it pieces, and let the whole stone come down on him. That's not going to kill him, but that's going to bother him, right? Here there's a little stone coming down. Here there's a little stone coming down. But at least the king didn't go against his decree of having that stone fall. It fell, but it didn't fall at once. It fell in little pieces. It says the Gaon Mivilna, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has an account with us, and he needs to be paid. But he put it in such a way that sometimes it will be a strong hit, and the rest of the time it will be little, struggle, continuous small struggle that is exhausting, but that doesn't kill us. That doesn't kill us. All this for what? On one end, for Am Yisrael to pay our due for all the sins and all the bad deeds, etc. But also, said the Torah more, to push Am Yisrael to start reflecting on the importance of Teshuvah.
So that they desire it.
So that they desire, and they crave the Geulah, and they trigger the Mashiach and the Geulah. So here, this pasuk comes to complete, if you will, a high of expression. You know how that nefesh, that was the neshama, or Knesset Israel talk about the love with Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and he's like this, and I like this, and I love him, and I miss him, and blah 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 blah. Right? But at the end, all that expression is just an expression, right? It's a reflection of what the neshama feels. There is still a void. The connection is not there yet, right? The physical connection, we don't have it. We're not with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mashiach is not here. We don't have nevuah. So this leaves room for the goyim, for the benot Yerushalayim, to maybe say, you know what? Look at this weakness. Look at this void. We can take you down. Says Am Yisrael. You think Hashem swore that you will never be able to hurt me or to break me.
Dying.
You will never be able to hurt me or break me in any way possible. And it's up to me. It's up to me to really desire the reconnection in order for that void, for that distance, for that separation to come to an end. That's the Gaon Mivilna. The Malbim, as we know, like we said, it says that it's the end of the first nevuah. It's the reaction of the nefesh or the neshama to the disconnection from Hashem on a prophetic level. That's it. The nevuah is finished. And says the Malbim, at that point, the Benot Yerushalayim is all the deeds, all the midot, all the instincts of men that come back to hunt and take over. And the neshama tells the nefesh, the consciousness, right? The da'at, the intellect that represents the neshama in the body, tells the body, yes, it's true. There is a disconnect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's true. I lost the 7G connection, the prophetic connection. I lost it. However, you should know that everything, all the kocho that you have, all the power that you have, all the influence that you have from the body on me to control the da'at, to control the neshama, to taint it, to contaminate it, to confuse it. Doesn't matter how it comes. If it comes from a very strong desire of ta'ava, where nisayon, a test comes and you're choking and you're about to collapse, and it's something you would have never done, and it's morally unbearable, or whether it's through the little averot, through the little challenges. Yeah, is it Khalila? Falling to eat lobsters, or it's falling to eat gum that is not kosher. You know what I'm saying? It comes the Malbim, and he says, the neshama tells the nefesh, doesn't matter from which angle you're going to tackle me. Are you going to tackle me from the angle of the deer, from the angle of the ram? Are you going to come from a hard on me, or on a contamination on a low level, but slowly poisoning me? Either way, you will not be able to take me down completely. And acknowledgement, it's up to me now that I know, what? It's up to me to rebuild that connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Says Shlomo HaMelech, now that I've tasted what the nevuah, what the love with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what the yishakeni min neshikot piyuk means, I know that it's up to me to rebuild it. So it's in one way an acknowledgement of the influence, the type of influence the Yetzer Hara has on a person, whether it's in a camouflage way or in a more obvious way, but it's also the acknowledgement of the power and responsibility we have to be able to rebuild that level of prophecy and of connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and on nothing else. And it's actually a statement that until I do it, no one will do it for me. And with that comes, if you will, the conclusion of this if you will, this journey, the journey that took us on a super high. We lost it, but we took on great lessons from it. It's in this pasuk we see how there must be an awareness and understanding of the challenges we face. We need to be able to categorize them. We need to understand that even when we fail, we never fall completely. But we also need to understand, which is so very empowering, that all the difference is in our hands. And all the power is in our hands. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu protected us in that way and made sure that the connection is depending on us and on nothing else, just so that the connection that we build is a pure one and long-lasting one. What is the whole concept of Mashiach? This whole concept of Mashiach is to be able to have a long-term relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
It's redemption.
It's on a national level, but also on a personal level, right? We can free ourselves, but it all depends on ourselves. And this is this is a summary of everything we've learned in a nutshell, right? Is understanding the challenges, categorizing them, understanding that what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, and it will never kill us, right? And now that it's and I know that it's up to me to create that connection and not up to nothing else. And it's not because somebody's going to pressure me to do something that the outcome will be pure or clean and long lasting. That's the summary of the first journey, the prophetic journey of Shlomo HaMelech.
The powerful summary.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Yeah. So Baruch Hashem, we finished Pasuk Zayin.
I love when we say that.
So,
thank you so much, Rav.
Be'ava Tzadik, Be'ava. Love you.
Love
you. We talk Be'ezrat Hashem.
Okay.
Besorot tovot.